The movie begins in a quiet and special place where royal swords were kept. It was like a big grave for swords, and there was a lone soldier named Muyong watching over it. The swords belonged to brave warriors who had passed away, showing how courageous they were. Muyong, in this peaceful place, got caught up in something important that would affect the kingdom. One day, while Muyong was at this place, he met Yin. She was the king's daughter, and being around her made things feel more graceful and serious. She needed Muyong's help to protect her dad during a really tough time of war. Muyong had been trained as a warrior by the king since he was a kid, so he was almost like Yin's brother. As the war went on, something really sad happened. The king got hurt really badly in a battle, and there was an arrow stuck in his chest. He was in really bad shape, and it seemed like he might not make it. Right before he died, the king called Muyong and said that he should take charge of things now. The king saw qualities in Muyong that made him think he could be a great leader. But this made General Wu Ba, the king's nephew, and his followers super jealous. They didn't think Muyong was good enough for the job, even though the king's life was on the line. As they were getting ready for the big battle, the king, who was really sick, whispered something super important to Muyong. He said to be careful about the enemy who pretends to be a friend. They're the biggest danger. They might turn against our kingdom. When the army left for the battle, Yin, who was really worried, came to her dad. He was really weak, but he told her something sad. He asked her to make sure the future would be peaceful without any more war. He also gave Muyong the kingdom and a special sword called the Swallow Sword because he believed Muyong was the right person to keep the kingdom's history going. Yin was really sad and didn't care about being queen. She just wanted her dad to get better. But there was something nobody knew about. General Wu Ba, who was jealous, sneaked into the king's camp. He went to the king and asked why he chose Muyong, who was an orphan with a mysterious background, to be in charge. The king told him he trusted Muyong to do the right thing. Unlike power-hungry General Wu Ba, this made General Wu Ba so mad that he did something terrible. He killed his own uncle. Yin came with some medicine, but when she got there, she saw something really awful. Her dad was dead. She couldn't believe it. She was overwhelmed with grief and shock, and everything around her felt like it was falling apart. After a few days, the Yin kingdom was really sad about losing their king, so they decided to stop fighting in the war. They did a big funeral for the king, and Uncle Tung, who was the king's close friend and helper, had something important to say. He gathered all the soldiers and said that Muyong, the king's adopted son, would be the new leader. But General Wu Ba and his friends didn't think Muyong should be the king of the Yin kingdom. Yin, Muyong's sister, believed in him a lot and supported him becoming the king. But Muyong saw that some soldiers weren't happy about it, and he didn't want to be the king if people didn't think he was right for the job. Yin, who was kind and understanding, didn't want to be the queen either. So, she told everyone that if they didn't accept Muyong as the king, they would face serious consequences, even getting beheaded. While Muyong was torn between his duties as a guardian and a soldier for his adopted sister, General Wu Ba had some evil plans. He and his friends started to create problems by spreading rumors. They said that a king should be a man, not a woman. Muyong wanted to protect Yin from all these mean things people were saying, so he told her to train with him. He wanted her to be ready when she became the ruler. The training was really tough, even for strong guys. During all these challenges and doubts, Muyong knew he had to be a good protector and a caring brother for Yin. But General Wu Ba still wanted to ruin Yin's rule. Yin's training was super hard. She had to learn how to do tricky things like walking on narrow steps and shooting arrows while riding a horse. She faced a lot of problems, but she didn't give up because she wanted to be a good leader. One night, Muyong thought about how Yin was when she was little. He realized that his job now was to protect her during the tough times of war, because she was the only family he had left. The next day, Muyong made Yin's training even tougher to help her get stronger. But Yin felt really frustrated because she couldn't be as good as Muyong. She was almost losing hope. Meanwhile, General Wu Ba was meeting secretly with some bad people who wanted to harm Yin while she was training alone. Yin was taking care of her horse when suddenly a bunch of hired killers showed up. They wanted to hurt her, but Yin's training helped her realize something was wrong. She jumped on her horse and got away from them. She even fought some of them off by herself, showing how much she had improved. The assassins thought they got rid of Yin, so they left her hurt in the forest. But they didn't know that someone had set up a trap for them. They all got caught in it. Yin was in bad shape and in danger, but then a guy named Quan found her. He was really good at healing, so he took care of her until she woke up. After a few days, Yin woke up and was really surprised by where she was. Quan had a super unique and amazing place that she had never seen before. She was amazed by all the cool stuff there. Quan was worried about her, and he saw that her injuries were pretty bad. He asked her to stay with him for at least 3 days to get better. Yin trusted Quan, so even though she didn't want to, she agreed to do what he said. As the days went by, Yin and Quan became really close. Yin wanted a simple and normal life, and being with Quan made her question what she really wanted. She felt happy and at home with him, which was something new for her. But she knew that her kingdom needed her to be a leader, and she couldn't just do what she wanted. She had a big responsibility, and she had to put that before her personal wishes. One afternoon, Quan took Yin to a special place in his house, a kind of secret spot. There, he told her about a dream he had all his life, to build a hot air balloon and travel all around the world. Seeing how determined Quan was about his dream made Yin realize her own purpose. She knew she needed to be a leader who could bring victory to the Yin kingdom. So, she made up her mind to go back to her kingdom and do her duty. That night, Yin and Quan couldn't sleep because they didn't want to be apart. Yin quietly went to where Quan was sleeping and lay down next to him, finding comfort in being close to him. This showed how much she cared about him. The next day, Yin was ready to leave for her kingdom, and Quan went with her. At the same time, Muyong and a group of people were searching for any sign that Yin might still be alive. Even though they looked really hard, Muyong couldn't believe that his sister was gone. While they were searching, they found a sword stuck in the ground, and it belonged to one of the legendary 10 New Moon swordsmen. There were stories about these super strong warriors from the past. Muyong felt like something strange was happening in the forest where Yin disappeared, and he started to figure out some pieces of a puzzling truth. At a crucial moment when everything came together, the characters finally met face to face. Muyong didn't waste any time and told Quan to back off and let go of Yin. But Yin quickly spoke up and said that Quan wasn't a danger. She reminded Muyong of all the time they spent together and asked him to trust her. Muyong was still a bit cautious, but he couldn't ignore the fact that Quan had been the only one with Yin in the forest, which meant he must be really tough to survive there. They all realized they needed to get back to the kingdom quickly. While they were on their way, a soldier stopped them with some really bad news. The enemy kingdom had attacked again, and there were problems with General Wu Ba's troops on the right side. General Wu Ba wouldn't move forward unless he became the leader, which was really treacherous and selfish. When Muyong and Yin heard this, they hurried even more. Yin was brave and led just 2,000 soldiers against a huge army of 10,000. She got on her horse and charged towards the enemy, with Muyong and Uncle Tung right beside her. This was a moment when their kingdom would make history like never before. During the intense war, the Yin kingdom was in big trouble. But thanks to Muyong's brave leadership, the injured soldiers were able to escape and get to safety. As the battle went on, the enemy kingdoms thought they were winning for sure. What they didn't know was that Yin had a clever plan in mind. Yin went alone into a forest and tricked the overconfident enemy king and his army into a trap. The Yin kingdom soldiers were hiding in the forest, and they surprised the enemy with a sudden attack. When the enemy king realized he was losing, he also realized that Yin had outsmarted him. Yin had her sword ready to finish him off, but she chose not to. She talked about how pointless the war was and how they were just carrying on old grudges from a long time ago and hurting innocent people. The enemy king was moved by what she said and decided to stop fighting, agreeing with Yin's words. After they came back from the war, Yin didn't waste any time. She quickly punished General Wu Ba and his friends who had gone against her and the kingdom. The Yin government demoted them and sent them away as a punishment for their disloyalty. With her enemies taken care of, Yin got ready for her coronation, getting ready to become the rightful ruler of the Yin kingdom. But when Yin thinks about the time she spent with Quan in the peaceful forest, she starts feeling weird and empty. While she's thinking about this, Muyong comes to visit her in her room. He tells her something surprising, a secret about who Quan really is. Muyong's suspicions are confirmed. Quan is one of the 10 New Moon warriors who survived the big war between kingdoms. This makes Yin rethink why she wants to be the leader. Is she doing it because it makes her happy, or is it just a duty she has to do for the rest of her life? The next day, during Yin's big coronation as the ruler, she does something that shocks everyone. She gathers all the people and says that she doesn't want to be the king of her own kingdom anymore. She tells them that she only wanted to be the ruler to help her older brother Muyong avoid his fate as the rightful heir. This surprises everyone in the crowd. Without wasting time, Yin crowns Muyong as the real king and says he should have their father's special swallow sword. Muyong has no choice but to accept this big responsibility from his beloved sister. After all of this, Yin talks to Muyong and says goodbye. She smiles and tells him she wants to be a part of the Yin kingdom, but not as the leader. Instead, she wants to live a happy life with the man she loves. Muyong sees how happy she is and knows that Yin's real purpose isn't to be a leader, just like their late dad realized. Yin goes back to Quan just in time to see him trying to launch his new hot air balloon. In a moment of love and spontaneity, she jumps on board, joining Quan as they go up into the big sky. When night falls and the world gets dark, Yin tells Quan that she wants to live a happy life with him forever, with their hearts connected. Meanwhile, far away and in a place where he's not supposed to be, General Wu Ba, who got kicked out of his own kingdom, looks for a secret place where a famous poison maker lives. People say this poison maker has made a really deadly poison that can't be cured. General Wu Ba asks the poison maker to make this dangerous potion for him, planning to use it as a secret weapon to try and take control of the Yin kingdom. Several weeks go by, and Muyong, now the ruler of the Yin kingdom, hears some worrying news. Rebels, led by General Wu Ba and his loyal followers, are attacking the kingdom. Uncle Tung, concerned for Yin's safety since she's living peacefully in the forest, rushes to warn Muyong about the danger. Muyong loves his sister a lot, so he sets out on his own journey through the dense forest to protect Yin, no matter what. On his way, he finds a legendary New Moon swordsman's sword stuck in the ground. Quan, who has special powers, senses someone bold enough to take the sword, and he knows it's a sign that they should meet soon. Eventually, Quan and Muyong meet by a loud waterfall. Muyong pulls out his sword and tests Quan's skills and determination. To everyone's surprise, Quan is incredibly fast and agile, easily cornering Muyong. Muyong realizes that Quan is much better at fighting, and he understands that Quan's real intention was to check if he could protect Yin. Muyong talks to Quan about his worries concerning the upcoming attack by General Wu Ba's warriors, who are specifically targeting Yin in the forest. Quan realizes that he can't avoid using his sword again and has to do something about it. When Muyong gets back to the Yin kingdom, he sees a really sad sight. The kingdom is in a mess, all messed up because of what General Wu Ba did. Muyong finds out that his loyal soldiers were hurt by poisoned arrows, which were the bad weapons General Wu Ba used. He feels really heavy-hearted when he sees that General Wu Ba has done such terrible things, and it gets worse when he sees Uncle Tung's head cruelly displayed as proof of General Wu Ba's cruelty. Fueled by a strong desire for revenge, Muyong attacks General Wu Ba's soldiers all by himself. But his loyal subordinates quickly form a protective shield around him to keep him safe from the poisoned arrows. They give Muyong their late king's swallow sword and ask him to survive. They know that the other people who escaped have taken shelter in the nearby forest and are waiting for Muyong to lead them in seeking revenge. They are really loyal and ready to do anything for Muyong. While Yin and Quan are having a peaceful time together, they hear a noise coming from the bushes. They realize it's soldiers sent by General Wu Ba. Yin and Quan decide they have to defend themselves and fight the soldiers off. They manage to get rid of the threat, but it's a sad victory because Quan got hit by a poisoned arrow from the soldiers. Quan tells Yin to go back to the safety of the kingdom, saying she will be protected there. Yin doesn't want to leave Quan, but he insists because he loves her and thinks he has a better chance of treating the poisoned wound if he's alone. Muyong takes charge and tells his remaining friends to leave the forest and get away from the danger that's coming. He's filled with energy and shows his strong spirit as he faces the tough challenge all by himself. Muyong, who used to be a lonely kid, looked down upon by the important people in the Yin kingdom, now stands strong against 1,000 soldiers led by General Wu Ba. He doesn't back down and rides his horse into the middle of the enemy soldiers, bravely facing them. Even though he gets hurt from their swords and spears, Muyong stays strong and keeps on fighting. He even takes on General Wu Ba in one-on-one fights multiple times, but General Wu Ba, who knows he's going to lose, stays quiet like a coward and can't match Muyong's skills and bravery. After a while, when Muyong is really tired from fighting, Yin shows up in her armor and joins the fight. She sees that Muyong's hands are covered in the enemy's blood, and she accepts the swallow sword he gives her. With a determined look, she goes into the battle to face General Wu Ba in a big duel. In the middle of the fight, General Wu Ba finally admits that he's the one who killed their dad, the late king. He says he always thought he should be the king. These words make Yin really, really angry, and she fights with all her strength. The battle is really intense, but General Wu Ba is not as good as Yin, who is known for being really smart in battles and a strong warrior. In a clever move, Yin kicks a sharp stick, driving it into General Wu Ba's chest at just the right moment. General Wu Ba's life is hanging by a thread, and his soldiers, seeing their leader in trouble, give up their weapons and promise to follow Yin without question. With this win against General Wu Ba, Yin proves she's the real ruler. After the battle, Muyong, who achieved his goal of making Yin a true leader, peacefully passes away. His last act made Yin realize her destiny, and now she's the rightful leader of the kingdom. When the war is finally over, Yin goes back to Quan's house, hoping he's okay. But she's really sad when she finds Quan lifeless, his spirit gone. Yin gently puts Quan's body in his hot air balloon and plans to give him a respectful cremation. It's a really sad moment because she won't see Quan again, but she'll always remember him in her heart. The movie ends with Yin officially becoming the leader of the Yin Kingdom. She stands proudly in one of the kingdom's forts and thanks the people who supported her journey and helped her become the ruler. Yin is now a symbol of strength and determination, ready to lead the Yin Kingdom into a future of peace and prosperity. So the moral of the story is always remember, if you're in a royal mess, just hop in a hot air balloon and float away from your problems. It's the uplifting solution to any kingdom's troubles.